Hey everyone, John from Fedica. What if you can just post the right content to only reach people interested in your offer? Wouldn't you want to know ahead of time if the right people see the topics you want to post? What if you want to choose the people that see your ad, not just a specific audience, but a super curated list of people you choose, knowing they probably already want your offer? This video shows you how by diving into the data, finding groups that match your ideal customers, by using Fedica's analysis reports with unique demographics you can't get anywhere else. This is how you turn your X ads into your business's secret weapon. We'll start by analyzing a conversation to see who's talking and what their demographics are on X, and then we take a subgroup of them in a Fedica list and analyze it further just to be sure. Next, we'll sort our followers to match them with the same group and add them together to our X ads audience in Fedica. Then finally, we'll find superfans on topic by gathering a group of users who are each following 2 accounts on the subject, and then add them to that audience too. So let's see how this is done. We'll begin with the hashtag and keyword report to see the whole story behind a conversation. Then we'll continue later on building that ads audience from what we learn. So here's the couple examples I have is X-Men 97 and then Gen AI that happened this week. So if we take a look at the parameters, this is how you set one up. The standard report covers the last 30 days, the pro report is anytime since 2006, and the sample covers 100 posts in a maximum of 7 days. Here's a pro tip. If you're not sure about your query parameters, run a sample report to test if the right combination of parameters gives you what you're looking for, and that way you don't waste your quotas for standard or pro reports on wrong queries like typos, for example. So this is how you set up your analysis. We're going to start by giving it a name, and then you can add all the keywords or hashtags you want. And this, for example, is just the hashtag we did for the example I'm about to show you. If you wanted to add a character, then the containing all is going to be all of the posts that have both of these keywords included in the post will show. If you want to expand it and get even more posts by having any of them, so either people talking about the character or people talking about the hashtag, this is how you get really precise with the results you get. You can save costs here. Now you can also do an exact phrase. For example, we schedule threads for free, so we find people saying schedule a thread or schedule threads. So that exact phrase is always going to give us the right kind of post. So you can do that for your business as well and find people who are ready to purchase your product with the right keywords that they're using. You can also exclude keywords that you don't want if you see that it's pulling posts that are irrelevant, and then you can get precise with each language if you want, and then pinpoint countries like USA for things that would make sense like that. So then you pick your start date and your end date. And for us, for example, we are looking at a TV series that was trending for only a day, so we only need to have a little buffer there. Here's the example report of a TV show that just released a new episode. Everybody's talking about it and how you can use this conversation and the insights you get here to make informed and strategic decisions. So as you can see, here's where the conversation happened around the world. There's heat points where the most of people were chatting, and you can pull these people out of here and use the keywords that you get in this report to create a hyper-targeted ad campaign by resonating with the demographics of these people, using the words that they used, so you can save on your ad spend. So you start out with your posts. There's 6,000 during that 24-hour period. All the contributors, all the countries and cities involved, and all the reach and all the impressions. Here's the top 3 countries, top 3 cities, how they felt about it. I think the episode was a little shocking, so it was kind of all over the place, you see. But we can dive right into this interactive map, okay, and we can see the people who are having the conversation. Let's say Brazil. These guys love their anime, of course, and we can check out who they are. So just like this, you can pull these people into an X ads campaign by adding them to a list. We'll add it to a Fedica list because we're going to use it internally here. Just like this, we have a hyper-targeted group of people who we know had this conversation and are passionate about these things. If we create a list of these people, we can send an ad that is so targeted that will resonate so deeply with them. Let's go back here to our report. So these are the associated hashtags, other sort of keywords and hashtags. There was not a lot because obviously this is a very precise conversation. My next example, you'll see a couple more. But of course, you'll see the posts and how many mentions they had. If we keep going, we have the activity timeline. So obviously, this is probably telling you when people finished watching the episode, and that's where the conversation started. So the engagements here, a lot of likes, of course, reposts, replies. That's pretty cool. It shows you, usually if it's on a topic or a person that's pretty controversial, you'll see a lot of reposts here and you'll see a lot of quotes because people will be debating. You'll see that a lot in political analyses. So the reach distribution, this is all the people that it reached and how big their followers are. If it's a bunch of people with like little followers, that's going to tell you a little bit about the conversation. Art fans, maybe they're not too keen on growing their community, so they have like very niche followings. So you can build the story by looking at all of these together. The follower posts, I love this one, is because if you have people who are in this conversation and they barely ever post, that can tell you a lot about the quality. So let's say if it's a bunch of bots having a conversation, you're not going to see a lot of posts, and it's going to be very clear when you get these insights, depending on the type of thing you're tracking. So we have follower activity there. The languages, obviously, this is more in English because the episode is in English. But take a look. We have Brazil, which most people speak Portuguese there. You can see that resonates as well. Spanish. We had Spain was another hot part of the map up there, so it's hitting these different cultures. Anime is pulling people together, right? So these countries here, most people from US, that might make sense because Disney Plus might be bigger there, And then you have gender as well. If businesses were involved, that could be pretty helpful. And this is huge too. So obviously these guys are anime fans. So we have a huge art and culture scene, science and tech. That's pretty interesting. Media. So this is going to help you cater your messaging if you decide to join the conversation, if you decide to pull these people into an ad campaign, if you decide to see if this conversation is the type of people that you want as your ideal customers. Like if you only sell art and culture type stuff, then you'll know this is a pretty good chance that this group of people might resonate with your thing too. When you put all this data, you make a story out of it, you can see that it's going to tell you some pretty interesting stuff. Well, this is interesting. So this is X-Men 97. So it's a callback to a 1997 show, and they just remade it. So you're going to have a lot of nostalgia fans. So it makes sense that adults are the majority here. These are the brands that the people in this conversation are also following. So if you're going to make an ad campaign, or if you're going to try to resonate deeply with them, or if you're trying to make a product happen, or you're trying to grow your community, these are TV fans. These are people who like media. You got NBA, you got WWE, you got Universal, and Netflix, of course, DC. So you can tell that these guys are anime fans, they love TV. That can tell you a lot about the type of things these people are really passionate about. So of course you have the influencers with the most followers, Marvel Studios, you got the big companies here chatting, starting the conversation. That's pretty interesting. Then you have the posts with the most reposts. So that could be controversial things, like this person noticed something. He found an Easter egg. So that's pretty interesting, and everybody was talking about that. So you can get really deep in the convo. What next here? We have top contributors. These could be people who were posting the entire time or have a lot to say. And then a list of posts that goes down for the whole thing here. You can export this and do what you need. You can go deeper in it if you want. You can add it to an Excel, get some data on it. If you want to do your own sort of sentiment analysis, like you have the control because you have the data. That was like the in-depth view of all of this. I hope you can see how I sort of told a story here. When I looked at the brands, I looked at the demographics that these people have, and you can tell, their interests. You can tell where their countries are from, the languages. If you're going to do an ad campaign, you might make different segments by languages, and you can target these people so you don't waste your ad spend. You can do so much with this data. So let's take another look. I think this is really intriguing just to see like how a conversation resonates. So this is the Gen AI hashtag. I want to show this just as another example of a conversation. This was just on a 1 week span of people chatting about it, but here's where we can see what the conversation sort of looks like around this. You have the type of different associated hashtags, so you can use these keywords. You can use these hashtags to join the conversation. People are talking about LLMs, with their generative AI type technology. This was interesting too. A lot of people mentioned Adobe Summit. So during this week, Gen AI, I realized Adobe had this summit that had to do with Gen AI. So you can see the broader context around the conversation. So the activity timeline, I wanted to jump back to this. Gen AI is huge right now. Big influencers, they're going to keep talking about it as the things change, there's updates. So it's interesting that now in the middle of the week or on Tuesdays, you should probably be posting or joining the conversation rather than on weekends. This is interesting. People who are active in the last 30 days, that's a lot of them. People who are active in the last 7. So these people are constantly creating content. So you can tell that if you're going to join this conversation, it's going to be with people who are using the platform often enough. So that's a good sign. If you want to, join the conversation to get reach and exposure, that's a great metric to look at there. When you start telling the story like this to yourself, you can pinpoint, what the type of people are around the conversation. You can find ways for you to get in and join that conversation. So here, for example, a lot of management, people in companies, science and technology, that makes a lot of sense. And media for people who are in generative AI, because there's AI video, AI images. So this makes a lot of sense. Okay, so after my big long spiel of looking at these 2 cases, you can tell that I've sort of built a whole story around the conversation because we have all this data to take a look. So that's the power of a hashtag and keyword analysis. I got a lot of information by looking at these 2 conversations just around a hashtag or a couple of keywords. So remember how I pulled the anime enjoyers from Brazil out of X-Men conversation and I put them into a list so we can target them with an ad. If you're interested in taking real action on this insight with a lot less risk than doing a ad campaign on its own. So here's the list with anime fans from Brazil who specifically chat about this TV show. We can analyze the list further and you get even more metrics. Or you can analyze the influence. And what that means is you're going to analyze the people who they have reached to with their convo. And then you can see if you engage with these people, who else is going to see in their network. So there's the people that group is going to reach, and that's the influence that you can analyze. So for now, let's take a look at this list before we put it in a ad campaign. Of course, you have some of the metrics that you saw. Now it's pinpointing just these people from Brazil. So this is going to give you an even deeper view on just that group from the broader conversation that we were just analyzing. We have a fake follower quality audit. So you can tell, this is high quality people. They're normal, they're high quality. So if you're talking about something that has a lot of bots or people who are inactive, who act like bots, you'll know right away. You should not, pay money to send an ad campaign to them because you're going to waste your money. So right now I know that these guys are high quality art enjoyers who love this specific topic, who are big fans of anime, and they speak Portuguese, okay? So your ad is going to be very hyper targeted to this. How old their accounts are. This is their real authentic account. They've been here for multiple years. That gives me even more confidence if I'm going to start an ad campaign with them. So how many posts, once again, follower activity, occupation, of course, art and culture, big chunk of that. So all of this data is ringing really true with my first assumptions. So now I know that my ad campaign is going to be pretty targeted. And I have a general idea of what I should say in it to resonate with these people. You have time zones on when they're most active, so you can target that too with content. And once again, you have all the people here. So we just analyzed that group of people from our previous analysis even further by analyzing that list here of anime fans from Brazil. So now let's take a look at that list. So all you have to do is select all the people and then bring it to a custom X ads audience. So what that does is when you go to X ads audiences section of Fedica, you have a list of people who are now ready to send to an X ads campaign. And the reason why we have this step here for audiences is you can keep building your audience with extra groups of people if you want to get real strategic. So what we're going to do, for example, is we're going to take these people from this conversation, and then we're going to take our audience and we're going to put them together for this ad campaign. So go to the sort followers section where you can segment your audience into different groups. So what we're going to do is apply filters to our own audience here. So these are our followers. People from a location in Brazil, okay, and then these people are going to speak Portuguese. I'm going to add that language, perfect. And then next I'm going to find their demographics, occupation, so media and art and culture. I added both of them there. So now we have the same group of people who would probably be interested in this sort of offer that we have. So there we go, just like that, 278 accounts that are in our followers who are interested in the same stuff. They speak Portuguese and they're from Brazil. And now we can add that to a list. So back to the list section, you can see we have both groups of people. So once again, all you gotta do, select it all, send it to your custom X ads audience, and then let's go for an existing one, so anime fans of Brazil. And now we just added this group of people to that group of people. So another way we can add a third group to our X ads audience is by comparing accounts. And what I'm going to do is gauge that whoever's following multiple accounts related to our group is going to be Marvel superfans. So we're going to do this by comparing who's following a couple accounts here. So let's go Marvel superfans in Brazil specifically. And the way we find these accounts is from the analyses that we were able to pull from this conversation. So if we go back to the conversation, we have X-Men update, which is a good account to use. So let's get that, people like X-Men, and that's the conversation we were analyzing. So let's add that account, boom, boom, boom. Now, when we analyzed the people from Brazil specifically, we found that there is a fan account here, Universo X-Men, and so we can take that account too and add it to this comparison. So now we have two accounts, around 100,000 followers. We're going to analyze and see who's following both. And whoever is following both, I'm going to say is probably an X-Men superfan in Brazil that we can add to our X ads campaign. So now we have our Marvel Brazil superfans. Let's take a look at that list. Here it is. So there's the people who follow X-Men update, and then we have Universal X-Men, which is specifically people from Brazil from that fan account. So if you look at the people in between, we have 2,000 followers who are following both. I would suggest these people from Brazil are super fans on this topic and are perfect to add for our Twitter ads campaign. So let's do that right now. We got the followers in common. Let's add that to a list, but we already have our audience built, so let's add it to the audience. And the existing one is anime fans from Brazil. Just like this, we have 3,000 accounts now that we can send this ad to with high confidence that whatever we're going to be giving to them as our offer, it's going to resonate very deeply with this hyper-targeted group of people. Let's send it to X ads. And just like that, the bigger the group, the longer it's going to take to send. So it is now on its way. So now we're in X ads and we're going to be looking for that audience we just created, and we're going to add it to one of our campaigns. If you don't see it anywhere here, all you have to do is create your new campaign. Make sure it's advanced because that lets you make your own audience. And so we are going to be selling something to this very specific group of people. So let's go for website traffic, for example. And then from there, we can add all the details of our campaign. But if you go to the left here in ad group and you go to your ad group details, scroll down to audience. And from there, you can add the audience that we just created and we built in Fedica from all the various tools. So it's going to take a little bit for that audience to upload. So let's go look at New York YouTubers that we had previously done a test on. So there we go. You're going to see your anime fans from Brazil here when it uploads. And all you have to do is wait for it to say ready for targeting, and that means that it has been sent successfully to X ads. This might be a lot to take in, but this is what we want to do, is empower you with data that you can't get anywhere else and give you the full control of what you should have when you're doing marketing with social media. And that's what we're all about at Fedica. Today we looked at how to create a hashtag and keyword analysis and find people from that conversation and do something actionable with it. You know, we told a story around the data from what we got there, and we looked into our own followers and we filtered them out to find the perfect people that would match that. We made an ad campaign that is very hyper targeted. We found super fans who are following accounts that give us more insight to that type of audience group. And this is the name of the game of marketing. I'm very confident this ad would do very well. If you target them with the right messaging, we can pull those keywords from that conversation and resonate with them with the words that they're using the sentiment that they have. And all this is possible with Fedica. If you have any question, just let me know and I'll be happy to help.